Good morning, good afternoon, or good Friday. Welcome to a special Easter episode of the Not So Daily Show. I'm your host, Themba Kevin, joined only by our political analyst, Themba Malile. What's up, bro?
How are you doing, brother?
Oh, aren't you on holiday?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right, so it's been a very busy news week, so I'm going to jump straight into the monologue. Let's begin with the overwhelmingly emotional exit of Mam Noxolo Grootboom. After 37 years of broadcasting, she finally decided to hang up a teleprompter and go into retirement. It was so beautiful, literally seeing someone get their flowers while they can still smell them. She trended for days on Twitter with people sending emotional messages of how she impacted their lives and how they will always cherish their memories on TV. There was so much respect that even President Ramaphosa held out for 30 minutes so she could fully enjoy a moment. So you see, fellas, a real gentleman always lets a lady finish first.
Yes! Oh my God!
A typist turned anchor extraordinaire.
President Ramaphosa also announced some restrictions during the family meeting for the Easter long weekend, including the fact that you won't be able to buy alcohol from bottle stores between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. You'll only be able to buy it at restaurants, shebeens, and taverns for the whole day. And staying with President Ramaphosa, he also announced that the ANC NEC has resolved to implement the Step-aside rule that would see all ANC members accused of corruption step down from their posts, which, if implemented, could see the ANC come to an end due to a lack of members. The biggest name on the ANC Step-aside list, who seems to be the actual target of this whole rule, is Secretary General Ace Magashule, who has said that it will take 30 days to consult with former ANC leaders, including former President Jacob Zuma, who was recently seen ironing his flowery shirt. The announcement was made via Zoom late night on Tuesday, because ANC meetings are no longer safe for public television.
That is not clear. The fact is still not clear. So,
because the person behind you is not properly. We are seeing everything. Yo, please, Inkos.
Sorry,
You are live on national television. You are live
I'm
on
very
TV.
sorry, sir.
And speaking of TV, the SABC has retrenched 621 employees. These are 621 families left without a paycheck in a country that can afford to literally misplace 300 million rand.
Well, a whopping 300 million rand that was ring-fenced to help artists as part of the COVID-19 relief has gone missing. That's according to the Minister of Sports, Arts and Recreation.
Like Flo Chibambu said 4 years ago, the problem at the SABC is more the executives than it is the employees.
But also we should have an inquiry on the board's inability to stabilize the management at the SABC, because everyone else is acting there. We know that television goes hand in glove with acting, but not at management level. Acting happens on the screens and generations and all those things there. But at management level, we need stability. It can't be for a very long time this acting CFO, acting CEO, acting COO, acting executive corporate affairs, acting special projects, acting everything.
So as Floyd Chibambu makes clear, there were so many acting executives at SABC that it's a shock Funim Bundla didn't fire them a long time ago. But in typical South African fashion, you fire the guy doing the work and leave the guy that is telling people what work to do. And don't get me wrong, Mulifenseki in the Bafana situation was not a good coach. But if you hire Donald Trump to be president, is it really Donald Trump's fault, or maybe is America to blame?
Wow.
And let's move on to some entertainment news. Following in the footsteps of BNG, aka Bonang, BT, aka Boiti, has launched their own alcohol brand called Signature. And we just hope it isn't forged. But all jokes aside, these are big moves from Boiti. Signature is already being sold at ShopRite liquor stores around the country. And this is just a few days after Boiti announced that her fragrance, Pink Sapphire, would be now sold at Click stores nationwide. But staying with big moves, let's talk about the rise of South African music. I mean, ridiculous stuff has been happening for the exposure of SA music globally. From Focalistic being casually bumped by the likes of Diddy and Alicia Keys, to this past week, Busiswa and Kabza De Small being used in campaigns by Rihanna for Fenty and Asha for Versace respectively, to this tweet by Stefan Don that just summed the whole thing up. Although the guys in Kenya have blamed this type of music called amapiano for the current lockdown taking place. that has been the monologue. Let's get straight into it. Where should we start, bro?
Yeah, I don't even know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. Past 4 days have been heavy,
bro.
Yeah.
Alright, biggest story this past 4 days.
Yeah.
Noxolo Grootboom.
Yes.
I know a lot of people will get angry at me, but did she retire or was she retrenched? Because I personally don't believe it. I've got like some family members that reached 60, and during COVID times, all of them were approached by their bosses to say, yo, you know, maybe step aside the rule. So what do you think?
I think just probably retrenched, dog. Or to be honest, just probably retrenched. Obviously, they'll package it, right, in a way that it seemed. Well, I mean, she got a fitting send-off, to be fair, definitely is. And I mean, that kind of played into how they were trying to package it and sell it to us as her going into retirement.
Exactly.
Sailing off into the sunset. But I think in all honesty, you know, especially in the climate of the SABC, she was probably handed one of those letters and they told her, thank you, but this is way it ain't.
For long service, because like, in all honesty, 37 years is a long time.
Yes.
But people have done 37 years of service in other companies.
Yes.
But for me, the thing that makes me think, okay, it was just like a consensual, you know, approach to be like, yeah, let's reach a mutual agreement.
Yeah.
And then because now, if you're firing 621 people,
Yes.
you don't need backlash from even the veterans. So you need to like just cover up the veterans, which makes me feel like the whole thing was a social media campaign. I mean, no offense, Noxolo Grootboom, she's the legend that she is, but people die and they don't trend on Twitter for 4 days.
Yeah.
So I'm like wondering which machine was behind that.
Well-coordinated campaign, if that's the case, you know.
Yeah.
I think they tried to do a similar thing for Manbek Anzangwisi with MLFM. She also, I think she's also at the end of the line there.
Yeah.
You know, they had a bit of a coordinated campaign, you know, just to send her off also. But good PR at the end of the day for the SABC. I mean, for a moment, for those past 4 days, we weren't speaking as much about the retrenchments. We were talking about her, you know, even the president coming on board and, you know, giving that extra 30 minutes for us to watch her for the last time on TV, you know, and now she's on a whole media show, she's on ENCA, she's on radio, you know. That also now kind of downplays or the chats around the retrenchments. What's actually wrong with the SABC? Now we're not really talking about it. I mean, I've seen a couple of people talk about it on the socials, of course, but it wasn't as deep as you'd expect it to, because I mean, this is literally 600 and how many people? 21.
621.
It's a lot of people, man. It's a lot of people.
I think another thing, we forget that the SABC is the government.
Yeah.
So when we see Ramaphosa give that extra 30 minutes, we're like, oh, they're so kind. But it's the same government that's firing 621 people. That's the same government that just lost 300 million.
Yeah.
And although Natim Tetwa denies it,
Yeah.
but Athama Fokati gets 10 million and they say people were paid a little more than they should have. That's not a little more, bro.
It's 10 million more.
Like I was talking to Blaze. Blaze was busy submitting a short film for the NFVF, and that's the same money that was gone. So
here's your budget.
And I'm like, bro, it's one government. You can't afford to like talk 621. And I'm not saying it's right. Like if it's wasteful, it's wasteful.
Yeah.
But you can't fire 621 people. How does someone function with 621 unnecessary stuff for so long and not take any responsibility and suddenly say, we don't need 621 people. But on the other side where the budget comes from, 300 million is getting lost. So, bro, is it a whole government?
It's policy, bro.
It's policy.
Yeah,
right?
that's how I'm looking at it from like, Tito Mboweni just delivered the austerity budget, you know, a lot of cuts that affected a lot of departments across the board, education, telecommunications, communications, including the SABC. So I think this is just part of it, right? Obviously, it's been happening, it's been coming. They've been sending out feelers for the last couple, for the last year, so to see how the people will react exactly. But finally now, I think they've got it done. And then we'll see if it actually does mean that the broadcasting corporation will be much more leaner, obviously, right? Yeah. More efficient, you know, and will it be run much more properly now that they've trimmed the fat? Yeah. You know, apologies for calling people fat, but yeah, in this case, you know, let's see if it will actually work out, you know. But at the end of the day, I think we are in an austerity budget or austerity climate, and this is the results of it.
Part of the results of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's policy, which means it comes from high up, you know. But now let's talk about Wafana, another failing segment of just just how South Africa is run. I mean, bro, we are the number one economy, only fighting Nigeria.
Yeah, Egypt.
Yeah. You know, there's those ones.
Yeah.
But we are like high up there.
Yeah.
In our other sports, rugby, cricket, we are killing it, kicking ass. And then now, we're fana, bro. 24 teams and we can't qualify in Africa.
Yeah, I think that looks bad. That looks bad. I mean, okay, the 16-team one, we'll try to understand it a little bit, change this, okay, it's a little bit tougher. But 24 teams, I mean, there really is no excuse.
People can't even name 24 countries in Africa. I say, if you ask people, name 24 countries in Africa, you can't even name them. Brian, I always make this example. I'm like, I went to Ben Foster.
Yeah.
You went to Marinsky. Yeah. We know kids that could play soccer, cricket, and rugby
at the same time.
And obviously, we feel like, okay, they're at the same level with all three. Now they have to choose. I make an example of Trevor Nyakani, Springbok World Cup winner. Yeah. That guy was as good at soccer. So you're telling me this guy at soccer, he's at rugby, he's good enough to be number one in the world. Yeah. And at soccer, he's number 100 and something. There's no ways. It's clearly a management thing because that's the same talent. And if when you play soccer on South African streets, there's no ways those guys are not talented.
I think it's deeper than that. The talent is there, right? It's a SAFA problem. Yeah. You know, how we don't have any continuity from the kids that went to the Under-17 World Cup, to the Under-19 World Cup, to the Olympics. Now, those kids go through that system, they're going through all three or those sections or playing at the world level at all those three levels. Come now the time for them to progress to a national team. Doesn't happen. None of those kids are there. Now we've got guys who've been playing soccer, I don't know for how long, you know, or someone who in South Africa would like to call them a youngster, 24. 25. Now someone who has no international experience, all of a sudden, boom, you must go at national team level. Now you're going to play with guys like, for example, let's say you're going to play in Nigeria. The guys in the Nigerian setup have been through the international setup from under 17, 19 Olympics. By the time they get to national team, these guys know each other. You know, they've played with each other throughout all the levels. There's some level of communication and understanding between the players themselves. It doesn't matter who the coach is, you know. So there's no continuity, and I think that's really a SAFA problem. Developmental wise, I don't really think there's too much problems with the development because we're able to qualify for those junior international tournaments. So that means we might be doing something right at that level. But now when they're supposed to now break through into the national senior team level, that's where the problem comes in.
But you look at like players like Messi, signed by Barcelona at age 13. You look at guys like Ansu Fati. Mbappe is from Cameroon.
Somewhere that side of the world.
Why? He is not French. He's from here.
He's from here.
So these are all people that are born in Africa. And I feel that other countries have an excuse because they clearly can't develop their own players. I mean, when you look at the Ivory Coast Golden Age squad with the Torres, and Kolo, Didier Drogba, all those guys came from the same development. So now with those countries, you say they have an excuse because they can't develop players. We're not aiming for European level, but they can't even do what South Africa can do. South Africa can do
with the resources also that we have.
But what excuse do we have, dog, of like not even doing better than them? Because if you look at France winning the World Cup, it's clearly African players that have been developed properly, and now they're the best.
At the end of the day, it's a SAFA problem. That's what I think. You know, the snake rots at the head, right? So in order to kill a snake, you have to kill it at the top. So until maybe there's some sort of changes at the top, with people actually understand the game, you know, appreciate what has to be done, the hard work that has to go into getting South Africa to be competitive at that level, then I mean nothing will change here. Because I mean, if it's the same guys now who don't appreciate what has to be done, the hard work that has to go in to make sure that come 2026, 2030, we are able to qualify at the World Cup. We've got a crop of players who have gone through the system and not just guys who just pop out of nowhere and then now, bam, you're in the national team, you must play. So until that is sorted out at the SAFA level, administrative level, Jordan level, that's the biggest problem in South Africa now. I mean, the office has been politicized. Because even now, if we take out Danny Jordan, best believe someone who is part of the politics is going to be in there and we're still going to have a political problem at SAFA.
It's crazy. Let's jump to the Easter restrictions. Everybody was expecting crackdown. Some people are saying 11 days, no alcohol. So they went a different route. What do you think? Do you think like alcohol is the main contributor, and do you think the steps will play any role in curbing reckless behavior?
It's tough, my guy. You know, the business, being in the business also myself, you know, I understand that alcohol is to a certain level, a certain extent, a contributor. Because obviously when we're in the groove, mask one side, you know, and then at first you get there with your mask, you drink, you put it out, you take it down, and then 2-3 days later it's late, you know. So it is a big problem, but at the end of the day, I think the President Cyril Ramaphosa said last year already, is that it's in our hands. You know, at the end of the day, we also have to take responsibility for ourselves. You know, we also have to make sure that we follow the regulations. We make sure that as event organizers that we don't overpack the venues and all of that. You know, follow the legislations. And I think maybe if that way we do that, maybe things will turn out better. But at the end of the day, like Cyril Ramaphosa said, the ball, boop, is in our court. Yeah.
Will you guys be stocking Boiti's signature?
We need to try it, dog. We need to support a black child. Dog.
I'm so down.
Yeah, we definitely support a black child, and I mean, I think it's beautiful that we have more black people, right, whether they're celebrities or not, venturing into the business. Because if you look at the alcohol business in South Africa, black people are at the bottom. We are the consumers. We are not the distributors. We are not the manufacturers. We don't even own the value chain, you know, at all levels. We don't even transport it. We do here and there, yes, but we don't even sell it at a level like Tops. You know, the only level we sell it at is a tavern. You know, so. Which, people are making money from it, but the margins are very slim. Do you get it? So we need to increase, you know, our participation at that level, right? At production level, 100%. Distribution level, you know. So big ups to her, bro. Yeah, big ups to her. Shout out to her.
In these type of deals, I think what I'm trying to get at. So, Boiti, Bonang,
Keenan, Zintle,
and I think those ones are different because those ones it's clear that who's the owner of brands such as Boulevard, Cruise, they're under the same companies, under the same house. And I think with Nak Music's Royal Flash, it's all under the same house. Those are clear deals of you are in marketing and that's our company. So deals like Bonang Boiti, do you think those deals are actually the celebrities deals, or do you feel like as the consumers we should be filled into who are we actually supporting by buying these brands, or is it enough to just be like, I like Boiti, I'm gonna buy it, whether it's actually Boiti's company or it's somebody fronting Boiti?
It's business, dog. Do you get it? It's business, so it's all about what type of deal you can negotiate. You know, if you look at Bonang's one, right, my understanding is that the people that do BNG are the same people that also create the wines, some of the wines that you get at Woolies. I think it's Valeria, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me in the comments. You know, I think it's Valeria. That deal, if you can get something good out of it, hey man, it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, you don't have the capacity as Bonang right now to own that value chain from planting the grapes, the bottling, you know. So if you have someone who can actually make your life easier in that regard, you know, then I mean it's a win-win situation, 50-50 for everyone. At the end of the day, these people are business people, you know, and they make deals based on what makes sense for them at that point in time. So the structure of the deal, I think at the end of the day, it's all about you, how you can negotiate. Because if you look at Keenan's one with Cruise, I think it's one of those things where they've got a profit split. As much as they're using his name, yes,
there's a
he still makes enough money from the side of you sell one bottle, you take 50 rand
it's a
bottle.
royalty
Type of fee. So if the deal is good, that's on the table, man. Hey, it is what it is. As long as everybody's making money, also. So the main thing is the type of deal that you get that you're able to negotiate for yourself at the end of the day. Because I mean, there's different types of deals. There's people like if you look at the Casper deal with Ciroc, I think that's a brand ambassador type of deal. Of course, Exactly. But now if you look at Bonang's one, I mean, they're more involved in the brand development. You are the brand itself.
Exactly.
You know, so
the brand also can't live without you. So
exactly. But I mean, the guys that producer can live without you, obviously, because they're already in the business.
Exactly.
But now you and your brand and those guys, definitely a partnership. I mean, as long as it's beneficial for everyone involved, all we can do is just support, buddy.
Exactly. I think it goes into the bigger scope of just like how South African influence is growing, especially entertainment influence, and people are recognizing the amount of power that these household names hold. I mean, and just to segue into the hip hop and amapiano and music conversation, I mean, what do you think is the reason that all these campaigns, the Rihannas, the Ushers, the Versace's, Fenty's are happening at the same time? Is it just because Amapiano is so great, or has it just been everything has just been bubbling under?
They're finally catching up, bro. You know, I think African music for a while always has been Afrobeat.
Yeah,
it's always been Afrobeat. That's what it's been segued as, you know, as the only way to enter the international market. Because in any case, hip hop is a cut and paste from them.
Exactly.
Yes. So whatever was different that was African, and that what they were focusing on, especially at that time, was Afrobeat. You know, but I mean, South African music being so authentic, you know, and actually making, it looks like it only makes sense to us, right, at the same time. But they've been working on it, obviously, working on the sound, cultivating the sound, making those relations with the other guys based abroad. And I think that's how it got exported, yes. But it's been like an organic growth. It's been an organic growth where the music speaks for itself. 100%. You know, I have to be honest, the quality has improved a lot.
Especially for my piano,
bro. With the pianos, you know, I think. And I mean, that's an authentically South African sound.
People say Amapiano is the most original South African sound since Kwaito.
Yeah, for sure.
So
definitely. I think
Kwaito was making moves overseas.
For sure. Exactly. So with the pianos, I mean, I think it was just a matter of time until everyone actually caught on. You know, and I mean, with music, because music is so universal that you don't even have to understand what they say, but the beat, you know, and the rhythm talks and speaks to you, and I think that's what's actually happening with Amapiano. And big ups to those guys, dog. I mean, I think shout out to Kabza, shout out to DJ Mapurisa. You know, they're doing great.
I think it's also the fact that when you look at like people like Black Coffee, all these other guys who've opened the door, made the connections with guys at that
has always playing that.
Created that awareness. These people are worth checking out. I think also if you look at like social media, the moment that you have certain people in certain circles, that exposes those people to other circles.
Exactly. You see, it goes back to what we were talking about with alcohol, right? It's the type of deals that you sign. You know, these guys are in deals with your Universal Music, like I think Mapurisa and his record I deal with Universal Music. So now those deals makes it much more easier for Universal to plug them in the other side, you know, in the other music scene there, even if it's just not talking to the radio producers and just plugging it like that. And then obviously it grows, and if it sounds good, it makes it much more easier for everyone to receive it on the other end.
And then you also have A&R people.
Exactly.
Always on the lookout
for new
artists. So I think that the moment, you know, people in America or internationally became more aware of like SA and Africa, now also the A&Rs are like looking and listening out and trying to find different sounds.
I think also with the A&Rs, they finally opened, the eyes are open that Africa's not just one country. You know,
the different sounds.
Different sounds from the different regions, you know. West Africa has their sound, different in Ghana and in Nigeria. Just like how in South Africa, we've got our own sound. In Southern Africa, that's different.
Also the power of collaboration is like important, because like for instance, when you look at Burna Boy collaborating with AKA, for instance, and then Burna Boy goes on to be a big international star, that obviously in some way directly
all eyes on him.
You know what I mean?
Guys, I think that's where we're gonna leave it for this week's episode. We've talked music, Amapiano, we've talked alcohol, we've talked restrictions, and those are the three things you need to know about going to this long weekend. And stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Take care of yourself. Wear a mask. Wear a condom. And enjoy the weekend. We are still at Sim Coffee. As you know, when you come back from the long weekend, all safe and sound, do give them a check out, give them a visit. And guys, that is it for today's episode. Like, subscribe, share, and enjoy. Cheers.